And welcome to the show, everyone. It's time for the Writers Corner live show. It is Tuesday. On the Writers Corner live show, we connect authors to each other and we help readers find new authors to love. Now, you probably already have your favorite type of book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, but you never know. On the show, we may just introduce you to a new genre to love. You could discover books and authors that you didn't know before. So, on the show, you will meet both seasoned as well as new and aspiring authors. Some of our seasoned authors will help you to get published right the first time. So here we share the backstory to our authors' books and their personal journey as an author. I'm Bridgetti Lim Banda, your host for today. I'm a global goodwill ambassador and a live streaming advocate, and I love to help brands, entrepreneurs, and authors tell their stories and have a great online experience. My co-host is usually Mary Elizabeth Jackson, and she will not be joining us today, but she will be back next week. Today on our show, we have Roxanne. Roxanne was born in the Philippines and now lives in Las Vegas, Nevada with her family in the US. She graduated from the University of Nevada with a degree in political science and works with her family-owned business. Her first book, Annagram, was self-published in 2015, and it's a story about three countries fighting for an island. However, the reason we are here today is her second book, Time Travel, has just been released, and it highlights love, determination, and friendship. But who better to tell the story than Roxanne herself? So we shall welcome her on screen in just a moment. Roxanne, welcome to the show. So lovely to have you here today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? And thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. One of the things I have loved about the show is the ability to meet so many people from different parts of the globe. Now, you originally from the Philippines, right? You were born in the Philippines.
Yes, I was.
And
Yes, I was born in the Philippines, and we moved here in the United States when I was 13 years old.
do you miss the Philippines?
I do miss it a lot, and I'm very fortunate that I get to visit it once a year. So I'm gonna visit next year with my mom.
What do you love most about the Philippines, or what do you miss most about the Philippines?
I love, our culture, our language. I miss my relatives so much. My cousin, actually.
Has the Philippines or being from the Philippines influenced your writing journey in any way?
Well, I guess when it comes to being with my cousins, I guess it kind of involved in my story how important friendship is, and the beauty of being in the Philippines. It inspires me to actually write my first book based on the Spratly Islands and the Philippines fighting for those islands. So, yes.
I read your story about your first book. You wrote it at your Lola's house, right?
I did when I was in 2015. I remember talking to my grandmother about it, and it's just like, okay, go ahead. And he inspires me actually to write it more and finish it.
So your grandmother was your inspiration behind your first book, and she encouraged you to continue writing. Because I always like to ask authors, what was your inspiration, and who is it that got you to write, to become an author? When did you discover that you have a talent for writing?
When I start reading books, I was like, what if I love reading? What if I can write one?
So what was your first, did you start writing little short stories? How did you get into writing? What was your journey like?
I started on a novel base, which is around 50,000 words, actually. I just want to start the whole book. I wanted to start
Ah,
short stories, but I'm not. ready for that yet. I need to learn more about writing. So
Who is your inspiration in terms of more experienced authors that helped you get onto the page and write?
authors that I read, like Mitch Albom, I like his stories, very inspirational. Dan Brown, the Robert Landon series, that gave me more details to my story. So real life authors are my inspiration for that. I learn a lot from them from reading books.
At what age did you start reading, and would you say that your parents had any influence on your love for reading at all?
The age I started reading, probably when I was around like 10 or 13. And yes, my parents did inspire me to write a book because they're very supportive. Like right now, I'm doing marketing on my second book and they're very, very supportive. They drive me to my events actually. So it was heartwarming for me.
And that's quite important because we all need someone in our corner. And in your case, you say it's your parents that basically is in your corner and they're helping you on your journey as an author. Now, your first book, interestingly, was self-published. Tell us a little bit about that and why you decided to self-publish.
Being a first published self author, it was very hard because I have to do everything from editing to doing the front cover, and a lot of work, a lot of hours dedicated to it. And why I decided to self publish, because I was having a hard time to have someone published it. I do get rejection from agents and also publishers, so I decided to go self publish.
Well, I love that you didn't give up at the first opportunity and that you pushed through your journey to become self-published. Tell us a little bit about the process of self-publishing. What exactly did you do and how did you do it?
Basically, when I finished writing, I that space, but it's now under. I upload my document on that platform, and I did the editing, and they have their own design, the front cover. So I did the front cover in Amazon, and then after that, it was just press okay, you're done, and then there you go, you have your first book, and it's up to you now how you're gonna market it to the people.
And so what have you done in terms of marketing? Because, you've obviously learned that when you upload your book isn't the end of the journey. It's actually just the beginning. So
Yes,
how
I
have you
do.
marketed your book?
I find because my first book is about fantasy and young adults, right? So I found a book club. I found young adults who are interested in fantasy stories. So a lesson to everyone out there: just stay to your topic and learn to be more creative when it comes to marketing. So go to book clubs, go to libraries, go to bookstores. So you have to really find your audience for that book.
I love that. That's a great point about defining your audience and then going where your audience is, because the audience isn't going to come to you. You have to find your audience, right?
Yes, and that's the purpose of having a proper marketing plan.
So how did you come up with your marketing plan? Tell us a little bit about your marketing plan.
Basically, like before, I was able to find my audience. Right now, in Time Travel, it's a science romance novel, and it's still on young adults. So I was able to find young adults, any book clubs out there, science fictions and romance fictions, anything to do with that category, like book clubs and Facebook and broadcast interviews. So related to books and my audience.
So now this time around, you went to a publisher.
Yes.
Tell us about that journey of getting published, because, there's lots of young people like yourself who may want to write, who may want to self-publish. And that's why I asked you about your journey as a self-publisher. And this time you went to a traditional publisher. What was that journey like? Did your first publisher accept it? How was the journey like for you?
It was overwhelming when I got my first acceptance letter. I was over the moon. The journey for that, after I finished having someone edit my book, I write the inquiry, the cytosis, and the few chapters to submit. Then I found the publisher based on my story, which is science romance novel. So I searched for them, and I begin to send, information about my book, and I waited for a few days, and then after that I get my acceptance letter. I did get rejections. Yeah, I do get rejections, and I'm just very happy that I got accepted.
So I think a big part of that is not giving up when you are rejected, and just to learn that rejection is part of the journey of
Are
becoming a
always part
published
of the
author.
journey. It's a learning experience, actually, not to give up, like you said, like giving up or improving your uh query or synthesis. It's either improving or not giving up. Those are the two things. For me personally, it's important in rejection. It doesn't matter, if you get rejected, just don't give up. That's part of life. Everybody gets rejected for me, and just move on.
I like that. It's a great attitude to have. Now, tell us a little bit about time travel. How did you develop the story? What was your baseline for the story?
Basically, I just use my creativity and somehow quote unquote originality for that. So, yeah, it's about being creative, and I love writing all the names. The names just came out of my head. I mean, just I remember, what's the name of my main character. It's like my first name is like Roxanne Angeli, so I put Angeli in there. Just being creative and having fun. I think that's important in time travel, just creativity, because I think that for me as an author, that separates me from other authors by just having a creative story. I don't want the same story of falling in love with a character and ending getting married. I just want to, twist the story. So, like I said, it's about
That's
creativity.
that's wonderful. That's a nice twist. So, are any of your characters based on real people that you know, or are they entirely fictional?
Our entire fictional, except for Angeli Thompson, because that's my first name.
And do you hide anything in your book that people about yourself in the storyline that people may not know? Are there any hidden stuff in there?
No, there's no hidden stuff. Just Angeli Thompson is a very intelligent woman. I wish I was her when I was in high school, because I always wanted to invent a time machine. So just be noticed that how smart Angeli is in the story.
How has being an author helped you in real life?
By being hardworking and not learning, like we mentioned before, not to give up.
Those are great qualities, especially if you're on the job market, for example, or you're wanting to look for you're on your journey to a new career or a career, any career, to learn not to give up and just to stay the course are great qualities to have. And you definitely learn a lot of patience and a lot of that from being an author, isn't it so?
Oh yes, a lot of patience in terms of waiting to publishers, and
If
in
you had to,
editing. Oh, go ahead. Oh,
if
in
you had to tell
editing.
your younger self, yeah, did you self-edit or did you get an outside editor?
The for Annagram, my first book, I have to self edit, and in time travel, I have to edit myself and send it to editor.
Now, if you have to take your two books, Roxanne, is there anything that you learned from your first experience as a newly published author that you could implement in your second book or your second journey? Did you learn anything from the first
Oh
process?
yes, I did the marketing part. I learned a lot by finding the proper audience, by being patient, and editing. Make sure someone also edits your book, because it's not nice for me just for myself to edit my own book. I have to have someone edit it for me, so I can know the proper grammar, the proper words for that.
Right. So we're going to take a very short break very quickly. And when we come back, I would like to know, what is your advice to anyone else out there that wants to become a published author? And we're back. So, Roxanne, if someone out there is watching this interview or listening to this interview right now, and they want to embark on the journey as, to become an author, what is your advice to them?
Be creative and work hard for it, because being creative, it sets you apart from other editors, and it gives you a more approach why people gonna love your book. You just have to be creative on that. You have to make sure it's right for you, and it's right for them. You have to be creative, because that's what stands out the most. And work hard for it. If you work hard, you will finish on time. You will get what you want in with publishers and with your audience.
You studied political science, right?
Yes.
Has that helped you in any way as an author?
Yes, it does. In political science, we usually read a lot of books. So it helped me be patient with reading how to write a book. Like, I have to read about grammar, probably the whole book. So I have no problem reading that long, because in college I was able to do that. And on my first book, which is actually political as well. So it helps me, being a political science graduate, to have a proper ending on that.
Now, when it comes to being creative, because you speak about being creative quite a lot and how that's helped you, do you think that creativity is something that you're born with, or is it something that can be acquired and nurtured?
I think creativity, I guess, you just have to have it. Either you're born with it, or either you don't have it. But it's something that you have to search for. I mean, everybody, from my heart, I think it's creative. So they just have to find a way to be creative.
Right. And is there anything that you can do to stimulate your creativity that you would recommend?
Basically, just with creativity, you just find a way to just let it out of your mind. Just as a book author, with my creativity, I let it out and expand it. So I put it in paper. Just make sure, don't be shy about it. Just show your talent. In talent, for me, there's nothing wrong with that.
So my next question to you, Roxanne, is how do you write? Do you write by hand, longhand on paper, or do you type? What is your preference, or do you do both?
Both. Actually, I started with writing, because that's a way easy for me to like make notes or cross out words. So writing first, then typing.
And when do you find yourself most creative during the day? Morning? Are you a morning person or a night owl? When do you find, how does it work for you? What works for you?
Any day actually, but since I work in a family business, every day from at least 9 to 5, um, I work mostly after 6. So basically any time, but you will see me work a lot after nighttime.
And if or do you carry a pen and paper around with you? And if you have a thought that you would like to include in your book, do you jot it down, or do you just rely on your memory to remember when you get writing?
Oh, both. Because when I remember stuff, it doesn't work for me. It's like, okay, what did I say? What did I say? So both. Actually, I try to write it down again, because I forget things.
I'm sure, I think a lot of authors do that. They carry a pen and paper with them. So when they have an idea, they want to write it down. And are you planning to do another book after time travel?
Oh, yes, I do have a plan to write my other book, but probably I don't know when, because I'm just busy with marketing so far. But yes, I do have a plan to write my third book.
Where can people find time travel? Where can they get a copy of the book?
They can find it on Amazon online, and Kubo and Mashwords.
So all the usual places can be found online. And do you have an author page on Facebook where people can connect with you?
Oh yes, my username is Roxanne San Jose. So facebook.com/Roxanne San Jose.
So people can connect with you on your author page. And do you connect with your readers on Twitter as well?
Oh, yes, I read their messages. Yes, I do. And I also reply to them.
Fantastic. So people can look out for you on your Facebook author page as well as connect with you on Twitter.
Yeah.
Is there anything unusual about yourself or your writing style that you'd like to tell people about?
I just write everything down and then I cross out the words I don't like. But I write based on, what I think is right for the story, just based on my creativity. So everything that I think, I write it, and I just either I erase it, either I put it in the story. So basically, I'm just being myself in the story.
Time Travel's got a beautiful cover. Who designed the cover for you?
Oh, my publisher, Advil Publishing LLC. So thank you so much for the compliment on the front cover. I love it also.
It's a great cover. I was going to ask you who designed it because it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. I love it. I love the huge clock on the back of the beautiful woman. So I love it. I love the color also.
Did you have any input into the color scheme and anything like that, or was it entirely with the guidance of your publisher?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did ask me about it, and just I leave it up to them to do that, and it's up to me to say like whether if I like it or change it. So I just let them be.
Yeah, the result is absolutely stunning.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And are you doing any book signing?
As of now, I am not, but I'm planning to talk to bookstores about it because I'm just into interviews right now and book club appearance. I do have a book club appearance this week, so
right.
Hopefully.
And do you usually post those on your Facebook page? So if people want to attend one of your book signings, they will know where you will be doing your book signing from your Facebook page.
Before, yes.
Okay, now that is fantastic. Roxanne, it was wonderful having you on the show today. And I hope that you're going to sell lots and lots of books.
Thank you.
And so I wish you well. It was really fantastic having you on and getting to know you a little bit better, and also getting to hear about your book, Time Travel.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is a great pleasure. Thank you for joining us today. And I want to say a huge big thank you to everyone who's watching the show live today, everyone watching the replay and listening to the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
I'm sorry, did you have a final word?
Oh, to everyone out there, just be creative in life, and I hope that you will be successful and learn to work hard for it. And have a good day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.